Just an informational display.
For you all, I think the point that I would like to make is that for us it's new too. So this is the first look that we're getting. So it's hard to answer the question directly. But can I go to my section now, or do we?
Are you finished?
Are you still got it?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Thank you. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I think are important, because I want to make sure that people know within the 2 years that I've been there, when we talk about the hard work to try to get the capital dollars shared through Lee County. I just want everybody in the public to know we've been working really hard towards that vein. I personally attended the Tallahassee, the Lee days, the very first few months that I became superintendent. I wrote an op-ed piece in the Fort Myers News Press to try to gather publicity from that. I've written letters to representatives, we've had parents involved, and we've met every local representative either in Tallahassee or here locally. So that's been something we've been working really hard to do. I wanted to talk about the audit as well, and I'm glad that that was brought up, because we are not afraid of continuous improvement. And what I can tell you proudly is that that audit is an annual requirement in the Florida Red Book that should have been done for the last 12, 13 years. This is the first year that we're actually doing it. Back in April, after being here for 4 months, I found out we weren't doing it at state statute, and I have a certificate that I want to protect, and so I certainly was not going to let that happen under my guise. So we had a meeting, and we have done the audit, and it has taken about a year to get to this point to get the results. Lee County, who's done the audit as they should have for years, still has 60, 70 findings in their audit. So is it acceptable to have 18? Absolutely not. Are we going to do better? Can we do better? Absolutely. But I want you all to know that we're not afraid to address those things. And so the last 2 years, spent a lot of time doing things like that. Our advanced ed accreditation. We actually got accredited. We had 5 professionals from throughout the state of Florida and other states actually that came in and visited 4 days. They interviewed. So when you hear about parent input, student input, teacher input, those are surveys that they do. They talk to people. They talk to our governing board. They interviewed them. And guess what? We got accredited for the first time in our system's history over 13 years. So very, very proud of that point. Our Neola policies and procedures. Coming into it, the last our policies were updated is 2008. And I'm sharing this information because I think it's important for people to know. It's done now. So we've got the procedure side to do, but we did our Neola policies for the first 2 years. That's what I spent a lot of time working on. We've also gone to talking about doing a 3-year budget, which was part of the inheritance that I had with coming in, was guess what? We didn't budget for these things. We acted like an American average family, which says, we've got bills, let's pay what we can, and we won't really think about the future. And so we're doing that now, and so we've added some of the things into the capital plan. Some of this model, and going back to it, I'd have to see exactly what's in the capital plan. Some of the assumptions may already add those capital things in it, but we would clearly make choices based on what's best for our budget that actual year. I also wanted to talk about raises for staff because that is huge for me. The moment I came in, we had already accomplished our budget, but guess what? I realized that our staff needed something. They needed to understand that I was serious about the raises. All we could come up with and muster at that point was 1.5%, but we did that within 3 months of me being there. So we have worked very hard to try to get our staff where they need to be. We're not even close. But guess what we have done? We've come very close to Lee County on the base pay. People would be surprised. We're very, very close, in consideration of everything else that we have to do. We do represent 10,000 people, so when we talk about taxpayers and the impact of our general fund, with over 3,000 students, over 6,000 parents involved, let's not count grandparents, friends, accomplished, other folks like that. I think, and I've always made the joke, that we are an economic development opportunity. I mean, we give incentives for a company to come in with the software and have 10 new employees to the city. Well, guess what? My employees all live here in the city. They pay taxes here in the city. And they work very hard to try to make sure that our students get the very best. The other thing that I'd like to add is that the per pupil fee, it's fine. That's a conversation that we need to have. It's jumping from 55 to 110 kind of all of a sudden. So it's okay if we're not paying our fair share. Nobody here would say that we probably don't want to pay our fair share. But I want you to understand this came up out of the blue for us. So this was not something that we had anticipated, oh my gosh, we're going to have this extra money. And then finally, I would invite any of you on city council or anybody from the public. We tour every day. And when your Citizens Academy is about to come, which they will in a few weeks, come take a look at what happens on our school. You'll actually get to see the students, the teachers involved. And I would love for you to have conversations with teachers, students, staff in the building and see what happens on a daily basis. So none of this is defensive. I think it's a great opportunity for the board here to actually have the conversation with you all. I think we can move forward. That's the message that I've been out for the last couple of months trying to do. And I think that these are authentic conversations, and I want to actually commend the city manager and his staff because they've worked real hard in lieu of all the other things that they have to do And so I look forward to working with them. And I want you all to know, I think I'm the right person for the job right now, because whether you know it or not, I have a master's in public administration. I taught state and local government for 10 years. I also have the master's in education leadership. So I have a little bit of knowledge from both perspectives. So I think we can work together. I think that with your all's guidance, with the city manager guiding his staff, and our governing board, who is consolidated and positive, there has not been negative talk from us. So we are certainly wanting to move forward, and again, sounds like a diatribe, sounds like a defense, don't mean to be. It's more about a working spirit of what we need to do for our kids, which is why our administrators and all of us are there every day. 3,150 of them. We're 52nd largest system in the state of Florida. We're bigger than 15 counties in the state of Florida, our operations. So we got big, and we got big really quick, and we need to figure out a way to kind of continue this going. And guess what? All the dialogue out there is scaring my teachers to death, and it's scaring our students. And when we talk about teacher retention and when we talk about student enrollment, well, guess what? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we're out there saying we may not be able to do this, we might not be able to do that, then guess what's going to happen? We're going to lose things, and we're going to say, aha, look, we have teachers leaving. So I appreciate and hope that we can work together and that we can continue to work together. And all the other stuff is gone, and we're part of the city, and we are a gem of the city. And ask any realtor in town, guess how many tours I do a day, how many tours they want to give. They want their kids to go here, and the realtors tell people from out of town to do that. So just want to continue the positive working spirit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I absolutely agree. And I think communication is a major thing.